Everybody, and welcome to ESO Daily. I'm your host, Mysticraven. Alright guys, I just want to apologize. I'm behind. I'm trying to get my crafting writs in, so you'll be on the journey with the crafting writs with me as I do a commentary today discussing debates. Okay, so I did a video yesterday explaining that your abilities will scale spell damage, right? There was a player I played with who literally got misinformation to believe that spell damage was only contributed to weaving and magicka was only contributed to abilities. That's not the case. Did a video. Somebody pointed out, oh, the betting edge gives spell damage. Well, congratulations. You're right. However, I pointed out, does the spell damage increase the abilities? Nobody could debate it. Nobody would have said. They just wanted to go ahead, point out the obvious. And I'm like, you know, you could subtract the difference, right? You'd still see it. I'm like, wow. So here's my point to all of this. I don't mind debates. I really don't. Actually, I believe that debates can be really good, right? I think debating can be good, especially if you're gaining somewhere and you know people are open-minded to learning something. I believe that. Unfortunately, if you're not putting in a valid point to dispute the findings, what's there to debate? It's like, okay, so are you saying that spell damage doesn't increase the abilities tooltip? Question mark. You know, it's like, I don't know. I mean, seriously, I have no idea how to approach people. People were like, you're an asshole. And I'm like, well, what do you expect me to do? You know, I mean, how do you expect me to respond? You know, if there's no valid point in argument, I'm missing something. I don't know. You know, I'm just like, okay, what are you debating? Get to the point. You know, just cut to the chase. What's the point? I don't mind being wrong. I have no pride. Whatever. What are you saying? That's all I'm asking. That's it. That's all. I mean, it's not that hard. If you have a valid dispute, point it out. You know, that's it. Nothing crazy. It's grand. So I need that one. But, yeah, I do apologize. I wanted to be already on PC, except, like I said, I'm running behind. I was planning on covering a few things. I think next week I'm also going to be covering why certain traits aren't used or being, you know, useless traits. So I'm hoping to cover that next week. But literally, I just got behind and I've been having to respond. Of course, I have a PC guild or something, just whatever, disliking everything. I don't personally care. But, you know, the only thing I'm asking players, if you're going to have an argument or a debate, in my opinion, it's a debate. But if you're going to debate something, just make the valid point. That's it. The one thing I've noticed about the metric system, it's an okay system for what's implemented in the game, the combat metrics or the FTC. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't break down static value. You have to manually do that. Now, in other games in the past, I've used metrics that's broken down the base damage or the static number prior to application. So it will actually deduct the modifiers to give you how much the base damage was, and you can, you know, get a more accurate indication of how the effects are being applied, what the damage modifiers are doing, things like that. The metric system in this game is good. It will read out low-end damage. It'll push out like your high-end points, your critical value, but it doesn't give, like, it doesn't deduct you know, some of the variables to give the base. You have, like I said, you have to do that manually. And unfortunately, some of these oversights, you know, when you're taking a look at, you know, trying to maximize the base amount to increase the modifiers further, you have to do that manually most of the time in this game. It's just like if you're on PC. On console, everything's manual because we have no metrics on console. But I think that's why so many console players rely on other content creators to provide the information because they feel like they can't do it themselves. And I assure you, you can. So let me go ahead and check out the comments. And like I said, I do apologize. I did get to play on Xbox last night with Robert in Mustang. Had a blast. It was really fun. Robert, there he is. Morning, dude. I had a blast last night. It was fun last night. We had a lot of fun, man. I appreciate it. But like I said, I mean, I don't care if people want to, you know, debate. I really don't. It doesn't bother me. It was a good time. Yeah, we had a blast. It was crazy. I mean, but it was fun. It was definitely fun. It was entertaining to watch too. Some of the things go down. That's why I love like siege engines. You know, it was a lot of fun. You know, we were defending all of a sudden. It looked like, you know, I thought we were going to have that defend, but we just got pocketed and it was crazy. But definitely, guys, you know, a lot of people are just going to keep arguing with me. And that's the funny thing about this for me as a content creator. When I came into the game, I didn't necessarily think to myself, wow, I want to sign up to be a YouTuber. You know, like I said, I started off with Nightblade Healing. I got a lot of persecution. And I'm thinking to myself, how did this community become like this? You know? So that's what prompted me to do it. And the more I did it, the more people hated it. And the more I proved people wrong, they hated it. Now, people have proven me wrong, too, in this game. And most of it's been like other viewers and stuff, and some of you people who subscribe to me. I don't have pride, and I don't, you know, whatever. I mean, it's a learning process. I think we all can make mistakes, and I think that's where debate becomes healthy, because you can, if you keep an open mind and you're subjective to, you know, learning, you're going to learn something, right? It's just that simple. But people sometimes just get butthurt over something because they thought it was one thing when it wasn't, and then but that makes it. There's a very good point to that. You have to pay attention to that. You have to. Those are things that have to be. You know, you have to pay attention. If you're not paying attention, shoe session hat. If you're not paying attention, that's going to cost you in the long run, and it's going to cost what? Your teammates. So I do workshops. For players in one of my guilds now, and I'm basically helping groom players towards harder content, right? I messed that up. I put a crafted a hand when I didn't need one. But so I've been working with players, and one player, you know, thought he was supposed to have a tremendous amount of weapon damage, and I'm like, well, weapon damage is good. However, if you don't have enough penetration, right, you're not going to deal that much damage. Your tooltip is the amount of potential damage that you can do on base. It's the total amount of base damage that you can do without critting. Crit is, you know, percentage value of other different variables, you know, like your, you know, Shadow Mundus, your precise, things like that. But there's also your base damage that's a contributing factor. And it's great. You can have a high-end tooltip, but if you don't have enough penetration, guess what? You're not going to do that amount of damage. So it's pointless to scale the tooltip that high at that point. It's redundant. You're not going to hit that much. So going over little things like that, it makes me happy to help players and to show them. And I made a couple demonstrations last night, and to me, that's why I'm trying to help players. Just that simple. And it was like, you know, how am I, you know, misleading somebody or whatever if you can't dispute it? You know, if you're going to dispute it, that's fine. That's cool. Excellent. You know, you want to go ahead and make a YouTube video and call me an idiot and call me stupid. That's fine. I don't care. But get to the point, cut to the chase, and, you know, cross-reference your shit prior to coming in. That's all I'm saying. You know, just double check. You know, think of it like, you know, an exam. You know, you're studying all day long. You know, you don't want to necessarily overlook something. You know, because if you study it, but you believe it to be this way, and you don't cross-reference anything, you could be hurting yourself, right? Because there might be more than one answer. That's one thing I loved in college. When you take an exam, and especially when, like, I was taking state boards and stuff, and there were, like, trick questions thrown at you, because there was like, a, you know, more than one answer, and you had to know that. You had to know that. There was, you know, there wasn't such an easy black and white, you know, indication of how something was. And that's the same thing. That's how I view life. I just view it in that essence. So I know, like, I'm planning on, after the new content, like I said, getting tutorials out, especially since the skill advisory. There's a lot of things I want to do, because I feel like the skill advisory is also pointed in the right direction, and, you know, it's a lot of weight off my shoulders, because that's the one thing I had to deal with a lot in this game, was like, I come out with, you know, a build, and it totally get criticized, trashed, whatever, by other players who didn't know better, because they were ignorant. Meaning they weren't informed. They weren't educated to the point to understand how the class functioned in that role. And then, to me, it was like, why isn't, what is there to debate when I'm showing the build in its capability? So, yeah, that Oswald battle was great. It was awesome. Yo, Snoop, dude, good to see you. Morning, guys. Hey, Mystic, did you see everybody crying on the forums about the jewelry crafting grind? I didn't see it, but I figured. I mean, but it's a grind. We're always going to have a grind. We were talking about that last night. So me and Robert and Mustang were PvPing, and we were talking about, like, you know, jewelry crafting and stuff. And then when I got on here, you know, we were talking about it, and everybody, I think, agrees it's going to be awesome, but, you know, it is definitely going to be a grind. Unfortunately, it's an MMO. I mean, does it suck? Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, it sucks. But honestly, I got worm cult daggers. Oh my god, I wasn't even paying attention. Nice. I got the sword yesterday. I already had the bows. So, but I feel like when they bring out new content, there's always something new to do. Now, the new trials kind of got me interested, because I was seeing some of the highlights on that. And I don't know why they're not coming out with full-size trials lately. I don't know why. I think the content's good. It's still really good. But, you know, I kind of question, like, okay, why aren't we having a full-size trial? You know? But I do like the fact that they did point out with the jewelry crafting that the vet trials will still be relevant because of the gold jewelry breakdown, and I really did like that. And I love the Q&A that they did on the website. So they did like a pre-Q&A for what most common questions would, you know, entail. Save it, Mystic, and sell it in a couple of months. Worm cult will be expensive. Yeah, it will be. It will definitely be. But the drop rate is terrible on them. The drop rate on this is atrocious. And we were talking about that last night too on Xbox here, because, like I said, I have, like, workshops, and we're talking about the worm cult drop rate just being, like, it's terrible. But yeah, no, honestly, like, I've just been blocking trolls. It's getting a really, like, crunch time for me, and you know, I'm trying to, like, decide which directions I'm needing to go in this game, because I'm playing on 3 platforms, and I want to interact with my viewers as much as possible. So on Xbox, I'm going to start Twitching sooner or later, which it's kind of hard for me to, like, and I'm still working on the website. So I'm still have personal life. I still have a real life. I'm still working on the website. And it's like, there's a lot on my plate. And I feel like, okay, I don't know, like, I'm trying to do this. I feel like I'm doing it all on my own, and it gets frustrating. So I do get frustrated. And I do have, a temper and things like that, and my patience is very thin. But, like, when I played last night with Robert and Mustang, and I get in Matt Spider, he was playing with us for a little bit. When I get to play with my viewers, it makes me happy, because a lot of times I'm just wanting to have fun. Right? I'm just wanting to let my hair down, have fun, don't stress, and that's what my sponsors allow me to do, because and I appreciate it. Like, for the people who sponsor me, and it goes a long way. So I appreciate that, and I do want to thank the people who do donate, sponsor me, because that's what pays for all of my access to play with you guys. So I do want to thank them first and foremost, the people who do support me. I'm not out here to try to make a profit. That's nothing I'm into. So everything that gets I get, it goes back into the game and towards trying to get with you guys. That's what I'm in for. But at the same time, like I said, there are people out there, I feel like, who want to go ahead and hate on me and find reasons to whatever, and I don't know why, but it comes with the territory, so I'm whatever about it. Have you looked into Mixer for the Xbox? I've seen it. I haven't messed with it. From my understanding, though, it's not monetized. So that was the only thing I didn't like, because I have to make some money to pay for everything that I'm going through with the game. So it's like, that was the only reason I was kind of a little whatever about Mixer. I might be wrong, but that was something I wasn't sure on. I'm like, I don't know, because like, I feel like that's what YouTube gives me. It gives me the accessibility to upload the videos, and anybody on any platform can watch it. I can't transfer anything from Mixer to YouTube, right? And then on Twitch, there's like a couple of things that you have to do. You have to still save it to upload to YouTube. So Twitch, you can't even transfer a file up to YouTube. You have to still use a capture card and save it. It's like a pain in the butt. So it's like, oh snap. So, and that's the one thing I might have to do in the future. So if things get, whatever, I'm not going to put my family through its own hardship to not, like, I'm not going to take my own family's money and support free platforms. So if it gets down to the point where, it becomes that question, I'll have to choose which platforms I will be staying on, whatever. Now, I still have accessibility because I have the games, and it's a free to play. So I don't need ESO Plus. So I don't need certain DLCs, and I can live with that. That's fine. So I can still level up. Now, I do have Somerset on all three platforms pre-ordered, so that's a good thing. And once again, thank you for all the people who supported me, who basically helped me acquire that. I do appreciate it. It will not go unnoticed. So I will be able to play Somerset on all three platforms, and that's something I am looking forward to, is interacting once again on the PC, the Xbox, and the PlayStation with the upcoming new chapter. So yeah. Definitely looking forward to it. Let me see what's going down here. What was Magica, wasn't it? Stamina. Oh, 1 second. I need Kira. And then of course Top. But yeah, no, I think there's going to be some changes. Like I said, I don't know what the devs are going to do, if they're going to also keep if they're still going to change Night Mothers, or what they're going to do with Sunder and Night Mothers. I hope they reconsider the Major Fracture. I'm not saying don't change some of the things in the set. I just think Major Fracture, when it's on applied effect, is going to make the set just garbage. Also, the one thing that, like I said, we were talking last night, like Powered. I'm like, there's a lot of traits that, we don't get to use, or we, only use for a small period of time because of the way, like, invigorating. We were talking about invigorating. Big point last night. I'm like, it's a good concept, but it's just not effective. I'm like, they need to increase the return rate. If they want me to use it, they need to go ahead and do that. 1 second. Duck's on. We'll get him in the show. Wait, Duck hasn't been on the show for a minute. Duck! Hey, I'm recording, dude. Welcome to the ESO Daily. It's been a minute since you've been on the show. Say hi to everybody, Duck.
Hi, everybody.
So, I was just talking, Duck, about traits that we're not using in the game, like invigorating. What's your personal take on invigorating?
The number's too fucking low, man. It's a great idea, but the number is way too low.
It's a great idea, but the numbers are way too low. And also, like, fortified Nerd Crux. When's the last time you put a fortified Nerd Crux on anything?
Well, I think, if you're doing the resistance, what is it,
Yeah, it's spell resistance. Right.
Well, spell...
And physical, yeah.
And physical. And what, the reinforced is also an option.
Yeah.
Divines with the, what is it, the lever mundus?
Yeah.
Also physical and spell resistance?
Well, the lady.
The lady, okay.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that might have applications if you can figure out the numbers on them.
Yeah.
Because that'll add to your base, whereas if you're going divines with the lever mundus, that'll do a percentage.
Right.
So I think if you work it out, you'll get the most.
You'll get, yeah. And I think there's application there. But there's, I feel like powered. Why isn't powered out healing Nirnholm?
Oh, yeah, that's stupid.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like
a bunch of traits that we don't use.
Yeah.
Like, well fitted, you could put a. I mean, I feel like you're reaching to make that work, kind of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I feel like there's good potential. There's potential there. So I don't want to say it's like garbage. I feel like there's room to grow on. So let's check out the comments. But, I know you got to go to work, so I'm actually happy that, you at least stopped in, for the show. It's been a minute. Have you, that makes sense. I hadn't looked into it, but figured since it's built in, yeah. Hey, Robert says hi. Haven't seen him on the stream in a while. Yeah, Duck's been a busy man. Duck is busy, aren't you, Duck?
Yeah. Trying to recruit for a guild, it's not going good.
It's not going good. He's working on PvP guild on the PS4. So Duck, I was just saying, I was thinking like the people who sponsor me and the people who support my streams, because it allows me to play on 3 platforms. You're aware of that. Mm-hmm. And I just want to ask you, if I had to make a decision tomorrow about cutting out platforms for ESO Plus, because we know I have accessibility regardless of ESO Plus, how would you feel if I left PS4 ESO Plus? Your personal opinion.
No, that's stupid.
That's not an option? Is it an option?
No.
It's not an option?
Most definitely not.
Most definitely not. You're not. You guys aren't letting me go over here, are you?
If you're gonna buy all the DLCs, then I guess that's your problem.
But I can't afford everything on my own. That's what I'm saying.
I'm pretty sure that just cuts your bank space in half.
Yeah, it does.
ESO Plus, there goes half your bank space.
Well, it's accessibility to content too, because remember, I don't buy DLCs.
Yeah. So no, that's not an option. You can't do that.
Yeah. So imagine you wanting to do a DLC with me in a new dungeon, and I couldn't do it. How would you feel about that?
No, that's not okay, dude.
It's not okay, dude. It's not. It's like that's how we roll.
So you can drop the other platforms entirely.
Oh, I can drop the other platforms, but not PS4.
Entirely. You don't have to play them at all.
Yeah, I don't have to play those at all. No.
Well, I guess it helps. I guess I do like you playing on the PC, because then I get some
info, right? We were talking about that. I get it, and that's kind of a good thing where I'm at on that, And it's like, for me personally, but I love playing with everybody. You know how I am, man. So, like, we were playing on Xbox last night, PvP. We had a blast. So it was Robert, Met, and Mustang and me. And we had such a good time, man. Such an awesome time. And that's what I enjoy, man. I love that, you know. I love being able to just come in, plug in, play with players. And it's amazing to me. It really is, because to me, I feel like I'm at a point where I don't need to do the grind on any platform. And, you know, to me, it's like, I just want to have fun now, you know, when I'm playing on other things. Now, when we're playing, we take things a lot more serious. You know, we're sometimes a little like, we need this. And I didn't tell you about the trial the other day. I'll get into that later with you on another topic. But, you know.
You said a little right before you...
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You know, I mean, you know, patience isn't one of my best virtues, Duck.
Yeah.
You know.
Not always mine either.
Let's see what's up. Yo, Joshua, morning, brother. Morning. Yo, Mark, how's it going, brother? I hope everything's going good. I hope that tank's looking good for you, bro. What do you think of my build? 5 Hunter, 5 Blackheart, 2 Val, 2 Daggers, Infused, Precise, and Blackheart bow. Okay, actually, I see where you went with that. Because you picked up your critical value with your Precise Daggers, and then you went with the base. That's a PvP build. Is that a PvP build? Because that sounds badass, actually. I can see that. And Precise. Like, Precise to me is still valid. You know, viable. You know, what do you think? Like, I feel like you could still use Precise if your crit value is still low.
Yeah, I think... Well, yeah, that's what Precise is for.
Well, right. But what I'm saying...
together, and now I'm missing this much...
Like, when you're doing a weapon trait, like, say you put a build together, Duck, what's the determining factor on your trait? You know, what makes you, you know, choose a specific trait? Is it going to be reflective of your stat sheet? Because that's what I do.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Right.
I mean, I usually go the Nernhund because I like
right.
it. It's so pretty. But then, yeah, then the other one is based off of, okay, well, what do my numbers look like?
Now, let's say for example, like you were rolling, you know, a class that needed, you know, you could benefit from crit, but your sets weren't reflective of crit. You know, would that? No, I mean, obviously, would you still consider like maybe the thief and maybe Precise? Does it have to always be one way for you, depending on your configuration?
Well, no. Yes.
Yes. Yes and no.
Yes.
Like, are you always going to pick Nernholm?
A certain way based on the numbers.
But, right, that's what I mean. So you are always going to reflect, and that's what I'm always saying. Like, we go over this time and time again when we're like building, because we know what certain sets are missing and where we need to pick up the difference between Mundus and trait value. But I feel like certain trait values get lost. You know? Like I said, invigorating. Great idea. Just poorly executed. So, it's like, I want this to work. I want it to work. I want it to be in the game. You know? It's in here. I just can't justify using it.
Gotta double it at least.
Yeah.
Really, I'd rather it was like triple, like 27 points per.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I completely could see that. Right. Or, you know, and I can understand why they don't do percentage, right? Because when you do the upgrades, it would be completely OP as fuck. You know, if you went percentage value. That's like, also with certain enchantments. I feel like certain enchantments are like reduction. I feel like it's not enough in reduction to justify. When's the last time you used a reduction jewelry enchantment?
Actually, no. I use that, like, talking about, you know, slotting certain things for certain classes. Is I go vampire, I want to fire resist.
Well, okay.
Instead of eating up all
good debate, good argument. That's a good counter, dude. Good. Okay, valid point. When's the last time you used the spell or a cost reduction?
Oh, never.
Never? You swear? Why?
No, I don't swear.
Why?
But not in current economy.
No, exactly.
Because, yeah.
It's like I wish it's there, but it's not justifiable to me. It's just not. I feel like I'm not getting enough value of cost reduction. When the cost is like 4,000 and I slot this and I'm only getting 100 and something off the cost, I'm like, now I feel that should be percentage based. I feel that should be like a 0.5%, then 0.1%, 0.1, or 0.2%, and then you know what I'm saying? To like basically like look at seducers. Remember us using seducers in the beginning when we used to level up tunes? Seducers was nice. Why? Because we got that nice flat, reduction. When our resources meant something to us, and it was percentage value, right? That made sense. But straight out cost deduction isn't really, it doesn't really do anything. Let me check out the comments. I hit 160 CP yesterday and think I'm making a Templar Magic a healer, a Wood Elf Warden. Nice, excellent. Heart, I meant 5 hunt. Yeah, I knew what you meant. Dude, I'm serious though, Adolf. If that's a PvP build, that's badass. Mystic, do you think they will nerf Acuity? No, I don't think they'll touch Acuity. Making the cooldown longer. Nah, that cooldown is way long. That's why I don't use Acuity. I think Acuity is a good set. I don't like the cool.
Get a buff.
Yeah. Well, you think it'd get a buff?
If anything, yeah.
No, I don't want it to. If it gets a buff, then it would be completely like, wow.
I guess, yeah.
We were going over that one off value number between the 2 and the 3. I believe it's the 2 and the 3. And, how some of that, the deducted value, at least the proc makes up the loss of the deducted value. And I think that's what makes that set work. For most players, given the fact that you get the 100% crit, it's well worth it for the loss that's occurring. So in back of my mind, I just don't like the cooldown. I don't like the downtime. It's long.
There's a lot of downtime.
It's a lot of downtime for me personally.
So the
uptime's pretty damn good though on it. I mean, it's got a good proc. So I do like that.
For sure.
Yeah, it procs really well. It procs really well.
But it's a lot of timing in my opinion. And I'm kind of lazy.
So I'm gonna need you to do a Magnon to show all these scrubs that are hating on it how great it can do. Magnon? Possible. Yeah, so sorry for the misunderstanding. I meant on my stand blade, 5 hunting, 5 Briarheart, 2 bow. It should work. Especially the way you did. With Briarheart and Precise and daggers, I think your critical value will be too high. So if you have Briarheart, you might only need like Precise without daggers, and you could go with axes for a bleed effect. In the back of my mind. So I feel like, and I never push anything of. What's your threshold for crit percentage? Where do you stop at, Duck? I always stop around 60. I try to keep it under the 60 value.
Something like that.
Something like that. That's what you do if you're. Yeah, I think it's pretty standard. I mean, we used to do that all the time, and I feel like that's one thing. Like, I get to like. There's certain players I can play with. There's another question, too, to ask. Am I unapproachable? We know I'm a dick, Duck. And, and actually, I remember when I first played with you, you were like this really nice guy, right? And you give everybody a chance in vet DLC dungeons. And I was like, Duck, what are you doing? What are you doing? And you were like,
sometimes I still like doing that.
You're like, oh,
my head up against the wall every once in a while.
Yeah, we can do it. It's completely doable. And I'm like, in a vet? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, you're way more optimistic than I am. Yeah, I'm just gonna say, just for the record, You know, but you
Yeah,
know,
I still want to get through vet ICP with 4 tanks.
with 4 tanks. Man, you're crazy. 4 tanks, all different classes. I take it, so the buffs apply. Do something crazy. That
All I
would be
really
the
want is
longest
just
fights
four
ever.
tanks.
That would be the longest fights ever. You're crazy.
Yeah, you gotta
Some
have
of
just
your
enough DPS to get those Atros down, and then other than that, it's all mechanics.
yeah. Well, what about the Flesh
And if you
Abomination?
have the Flesh Abomination, I can go toe to toe with that guy all
That's
fucking
not
day.
my point. The point of it is who's healing what, you know?
I don't need I have a tank that doesn't need a healer.
Well, okay, yeah.
I've wiped the group more than once and rezzed them all and kept going.
To me, that would be a kind of a weird. What about the Flesh Sculptor? Oh, not enough DPS to put down the friggin'.
Well, that's what you need. You need just enough DPS to put
just
those
enough,
guys
dude.
down.
You are just completely crazy.
And as long as you have that, it's all mechanics, and it's not that hard. I mean, it's not going to take that much.
I wouldn't have a problem with the Lord
mechanics.
Warden fight with that. I feel like in the Lord Warden fight, that would probably be whatever. So, you know.
Yeah, nobody drops.
Right, yeah, I mean, whatever. Just, you know, hit the donut, make sure you're timing donuts right. Well, whatever. So, you know, to me, that's kind of doable. You come out with the most craziest goals, dude. I swear to God. You're like, hey, let's just go try to do this. We'll do vet something in the hard mode with just 2 of us. Okay, sure. It's everything I've ever wanted to do. Right. Yeah. You know, and it's kind of sad. I kind of miss, like, I think I like, that's why I like doing the Xbox, because I get to re-level tunes. So, let me check out the comments. They love you here too, Duck. My viewers love you.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here. Don't let them take the stun from the Warden Deep Fisher. I know, I hate that racer. Duck doesn't like it either, do you, Duck?
No, that's terrible.
But
terrible
think about it, you are getting a breach in substitution.
You can take your breach.
I can understand why they removed the stun if we're getting breach. I'm just saying. I might not like it, but I understand it.
I don't want breach.
Hopefully the change to Deep Fisher doesn't happen. If anything, the Warden needs buffs. More abilities have secondary effects, while the Warden has next to none, right? Give one of the 4 tanks energy orbs and you'll be fine, right? Oh, yeah, there's a good point. Robert made a good point. In all DK party, heals, tanks, DPS would be cool to see. Yeah, we've already done like all Sork. We did Sork tank, Sork healer, Sork mag, DPS, and Sork stam. So we've had an entire Sork party before. So we've done that. So we've already done that one, I believe, right? I think I needed health. But yeah, so it was funny because now I know you got to leave for work here soon too, because I did a video yesterday because somebody was told, Duck, that spell damage only contributes to your weaving. And I was like, it increases ability damage. Yeah.
Your spell damage only increases your weave.
Yeah. They completely believe that. No, it was real. It was fucking real. I was like, homie, say fucking what?
I don't know. It sounds like somebody was getting trolled. That's what it sounds like.
Oh, no. I got it from a very good resource. That's what was, whatever. And they missed out on the whole 10-to-1, whatever. Oh, dude, I need a Red Potence room. Shit, I have to buy that. But, no. Seriously. That's, like, literally what I was told. And then, like, they didn't take into consideration the 10-to-1. And I'm like, yeah, of course not. So Clever Alchemist builds never existed for a reason. No. That never fucking happened. Okay. And then, so I make a video pointing it out, and then they just like, oh, well, that Betty Niche gave you a spell damage buff. I'm like, yeah, but you can subtract the difference. I'm like, oh my God, help me. I swear. But I feel like I sometimes do come across a certain way that's kind of maybe negative. So,
Hey, did you get Worm Colt swords yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just got the daggers today, just a little bit ago. I'm doing writs. Are you doing writs?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Are you doing your writs, Duck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Telling you guys. Do the writs. Do the writs. Do the writs. Oh, dude, I got Yokita bow. Shut up. Malakoth bow. What is with the bow drops, man? I don't know. But yeah, guys, I mean, honestly, I feel like a lot of the things coming out with Somerset is going to be good. I mean, we always question things. I mean, remember when they dropped the percentage value in recovery in champion points? It was the end of the world during that time for Morrowind.
Well, they also took away the cost reduction, and that killed
right.
my mechanics.
Yeah, I think you were throwing the biggest fit ever during that time, right?
Yeah, and I was in a huge panic, and what I thought was happening is they were actually keeping the reduction cost and losing the recovery. Somehow I got that mixed up.
Yeah, and that's my point, though. I feel like,
I'm like, wait a second, this is different.
I feel like in this game, like when people start hitting panic buttons, they hit it prematurely. But I feel like the Warden, and that's a good point that they make, Joshua makes, they need a buff, like as far as certain things. Like I feel like if slotting the bear, it sucks that I'm using an ultimate space and I have to wait to a certain percentage to capitalize on its optimal performance. Like I feel like I should be able to do another effect prior to the 25% for activation, because it sucks banking up ulti, hit it, and it does shit damage without the 25% drop in that execution range, and then I feel like the Warden should have a shield to protect the bear or bump up the bear's life. It dies the mechanics. It's great. It's great single target DPS. It's like, cool. That's another thing they could do is add like an AoE effect to the bear, prior to the execution phase. Like Celine does, that big roar, pounce. I mean, it is a bear.
Yeah, I don't use the bear.
I know you don't use the bear. That's my point. Not a lot of people use the bear. There's a reason why. Your point. You're
takes up an ulti spot.
Right. Exactly. It's like
two of them.
Like okay, like werewolf. Would you ever use werewolf as an ultimate in PvE? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't because there's no backbar swap. Stop it. Don't even think about it. You're pretending like you're gonna think about it. Go ahead.
No, I did. I used it in PvP one time.
PvP? I'm talking, would you use it in a dungeon? Okay, I could see slotting it for the recovery. Right? You could do that.
I've done that.
Right, you've done that. I've done that. Would you activate it?
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose? You're like, I'm going to lose DPS if I activate this. Oh, shit. And you can't. I feel like a class like that, or the skill line like that needs more, or give it a back bar ability swap to make it viable. Like you could make it viable. You could.
So you're saying like just be a werewolf 100% of the time and have 2 bars like that?
No, when you activate it, you get another back bar, right? That you could put like undaunted abilities or something.
Well, I think. Yeah.
Or class abilities.
Or other way around, where you don't have to have the ulti activated to use the abilities that are on that bar.
Yeah. But then you'd have to be a werewolf 100% of the time. I mean, could you imagine running through Mournhold as a werewolf? The guards would just execute your ass to begin with.
What?
How vampires get away with as much? I mean, you played Oblivion. You knew what happened when you turned into a vampire.
Well, I didn't think that I didn't think the guards would attack you if you were in werewolf
form. No, but shouldn't they? That's my point.
Oh, no, because
no. Let that thing drill.
Well, that's immersion. Like You know, that's an immersion thing. That's a Skyrim thing. Yes, in Skyrim they should attack you, most definitely. But this is an MMO.
Right.
It's not. This isn't. People aren't playing this just for the immersion. This is for the interactive gameplay, for the builds, and if I can't be a vampire without being attacked in town, I'm restricted as a vampire. And it's not okay.
Yeah. Especially when you already get extra flame damage. It's not right.
Yeah.
Look, let me check out the comments. I love having you on the show, Duck. But no, I honestly think there's still a long way to go in the game, and I feel like there is growth. You know. Okay, let me check this out. All right. Yeah, it was Racer mentioned. All right, so I'm going to need... Acuity is OP even with the long cooldown with a Stamp Sork or Stamplar. Yeah, Acuity's good. It's a good set. I just don't like the cooldown. That's my preference. But it's a good set. It's a good set. Yeah, so sorry. Let's see. Yeah. They will have no burst in PvP. PvP, though, I feel like there are a couple of options, but I feel like they're getting nerfed to the point in PvP where there's no counter play to against, you know, for the warden to offset the difference. A lot of people are like, well, it has a shitload of sustained through healing. That's true, but if I can't stun or if I can't lock down or, you know, reduce speed, then what's the point? They hit hard, they do. But, and that's another thing. People are like, Wardensdale shit DPS. I'm like, then why is everybody saying they need nerfed? I don't get it. Nerf them! They suck. Okay. Isn't that an oxymoron? I don't know. If anything, the Warden needs buffs. We already talked. Give one of the 4 tanks. Oh, we read that too. Like overload for the Sork. Right! Yes, Robert made a good point. Like the werewolf would be like an overlord for the Sork. Right. Kind of like whatever, but you'd have a back bar switch out when you activate. I totally believe that. I think it could totally be viable then in PvE if they were to do that, don't you? If you had a back bar that you could actually, you know, engage with, right? During werewolf form, and you can make a valid rotation like having caltrops and shit. You know what I'm saying? Could you imagine a werewolf throwing caltrops? How cool would that be?
General, because the werewolf's all melee.
Right.
And
I'm
so
not saying to have the werewolf wield a sword or a friggin' bow, you know, but it could definitely throw out caltrops out of its fur.
Or something.
Or something.
Need some AoEs, and I need some AoEs to lay down, and I need some ranged abilities.
Right! Yes! 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 And yes! And then we can make a viable PvE werewolf. I would love to do like dungeon crawling in werewolf form. If I could get away with it, I would be like, that would be fun. That would be badass as hell. You know? But I already am aware what the hell happens. It's kind of like, oh shit. You know, no back bar, no AoEs. But you'll see it. You'll see. I love watching new players. Don't you love watching new players go in a dungeon and they hit werewolf?
It's pretty whatever. I mean, stupid players. I don't know.
Oh, you use the S word. I get flogged for that. You're not allowed to do. If I'm not allowed to call people stupid, you're not.
Well, uneducated players.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Fix.
Yeah, when I get in a dungeon with them, it's like, oh, cool, it's a lobby. Hey, guy. And then past that, I don't really care what they do. So I'm gonna run this dungeon.
You know, no, I do feel like, you know, that's the thing, is the learning curve, because there is a learning curve. So I feel like, you know, I don't have a problem with most people. You know how often we've pugged. We've had to deal with that. We've dealt with, dude, you were there all the time when we used to go in, we'd queue with my Nightblade or my DK healer in the beginning. And how many people was like, what the, and remember how many times they kicked me out and you used to just refuse it?
Yeah.
And you were like, nah. And then we would make it work. And then people just get stunned. Like, I mean, I know that there's viability. The things are viable, like 2H. A lot of people just don't want to do the 2H. They think 2H is not viable or a Bobo build in this game, and I'm like, what the hell? What allows these people to get this kind of mentality? You know what I'm saying? That without trying it themselves, they get told something and they believe it to be the absolute truth without doing what? Trying it out for themselves.
Testing.
Yeah, testing. And that's one thing we're always into. I love what guys, you would love playing with Duck here, because Duck gets these builds and he's like, okay, we got to go do a dungeon. Let's go vet this and go try out this new build. Now let's go in this vet dungeon and try it out in this scenario. So Duck is one of those people who likes to cover his build in multiple scenarios. And I feel like that's my appreciation for you, Duck, because, you know, you don't come to me asking me for builds. You have your own build ideas. And I think that's the beautiful aspect of this game, you know, because you want to check it out for yourself. You want to determine what works for you and what doesn't. Yeah. You know? And of course, there's times I think all of us can agree we tried something and it didn't pan out to be what we wanted it to be. Right or wrong?
Correct, and you don't want to get married to that. If it's trash, throw it out. Man. Don't sit there and be like,
put it on the curb. Don't marry that trash. Don't get committed to that build. You know, but honestly, I feel like that's one thing I feel certain players are scared of. They're scared to try something. Like we was talking about sustain sets and then being able to take the difference with our enchantments. Because we always use like you know, a recovery enchantment, at least one or two, right? And being able to use something like the Lich set and proc up the recovery and slot an extra spell or spell damage, you know? I like that idea. You know, I love those type of ideas to be implemented and see where we go with that. You know, how much, you know, how much damage can we gain? How much recovery point can we pick up when it procs? You know, how frequently does it sustain us? Is it enough sustain is what I'm saying, you know? Like Kina. Like, I still use Kina on the Sork. A lot of people won't use Kina. Why? Because sustain. Because it's hard to make. Resource management is a bitch.
If you're looking.
So, like you haven't used Kina for a while, have you?
I use it a lot, actually, on One Piece.
One Piece. But you haven't used the proc set for a minute, have you?
I never really did. I mean, I slotted it and tried it out a couple of times, but yeah, I never. No, I don't think I ever really did.
Did you ever like it?
No.
No.
I mean, I'm not saying that was bad. I wasn't against it. I didn't think it was. Yeah, but no,
I
just
loved
never
it
got into
at certain
using it.
points. I would lay that down with my AoEs, like heavy. And I still do that to this day on the Sork. So what I always do is I double it up, drop down the AoEs, and then I heavy attack. And just weave that bitch up. It's fucking crazy. It's a straight out damage beast when that happens. But you got to start weaving heavy right directly after the laydown. Hey, so after watching a few videos of yours, I decided to get into the game. Oh, great. Awesome, David. Welcome. I hope you enjoy it, man. When jewelry crafting hits, I may try Willow's Path again for the recovery it offers. Willow Path is still good. We still use Willow's Path a lot. I think you used Willow's, what, about a month or two ago, Duck?
Oh, I still have a build with Willow's, actually.
Oh, do you? Yeah, Willow's is good.
PvP.
PvP? That's not a bad idea for a sustain build.
Oh, well, he's kind of a tank.
Willow's is really good in Battlegrounds, too. No CP. Like, it's really good.
I don't mind running him in PGs either. He's not really OP, though.
No. But, I mean, you can sustain a fight without having to worry about, like a lot of times when I die, it's because I'm out of resources in Battlegrounds, you know? It's not like, you know, when we're in Bivec, which I haven't been in there lately. Are you still been buyback, or are you doing shore now?
Oh, I'm definitely buyback.
You're buyback all the way. It's not looking good in there anyways. See, I think your recruiting is at a bad time right now because of the way Cyrodiil looks. It looks horrible.
I don't think it's so much Cyrodiil, and I think that's probably part of the part. It's the event.
Well, yeah. I definitely let me check out the score if the score uploads. Dude, look at this. AD has a score of 14,000. Daggerfall 9 and EP 9-1.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So they're just increasing their lead from the last time I checked.
Dude, there was a Green Alliance in there the last time I went in just to test my build.
Last time I went in there, no, I think I was actually there, and yeah, and it was the same time. Like every time I've been in there, all Red's doing is pushing blue.
Right, and blue, that's what blue does. Blue pushes red. And then blue gets with yellow, and it's like, well, fuck Ebonheart pack.
Holding the entire map. It's like they're not even doing anything. It's like AD's
sure
not really
they
doing
anything
anything here.
AD doesn't have to. They just go ahead and go to the points and be like, there's a conflict over here. Let's go fuck with them.
Yeah, a little bit, a little poke and prod. They're not the reason they're winning. The reason they're winning is because red and blue are just going.
Red has terrible tactics, anyways. Red is the crap. They're just crap. Leaders, there's good players. I loved it because somebody in the chat room said it's a shame we have good players, but we have no leadership. And I'm like, I agree with that 100%. That's why I can't do groups. I'll group with you, Gooch, and, you know, the Norm for the little small whatever. But most of the time, I cannot group with the groups. I can't do that. Like, I want to, like, just cry and say the most nastiest things to these people when I have to go through all that pain and misery.
No, are you talking about like a pub group? No.
No, yeah. Well, even like when looking for group, or you know, or people trying to get me in their groups, and I'm like, no. I'm not rolling with you guys. They're like, oh, come on, Mystic, you can roll with us. No. Because as soon as you guys say we're going to D-Lo, I'll take a Nerf bat and start smacking every one of you guys with it. No.
Yeah. It's really. I feel really dumb when I end up in a 24-man group and we're all at D-Lo.
Right. It's like it takes 24 people to you know, flip a turn keep.
An empty fucking keep.
Right.
It's like, come on, man.
It doesn't make sense.
It's an 8-man
and it's the furthest point in the map. It's like, oh my god. We were actually in Drake last night. We were trying to we were distracting Drake. It worked. So we used Drake last night on Xbox as a ploy tactic. We almost had it till a bunch of players started coming in. I didn't get that one done. All right, let me check the comments, and then I think I'm about to wrap it here soon. PC player here also. Nice, excellent, Mark. I do play PC. You're playing on PC, David? Awesome. Make sure you invite me as a friend. EPS, too many Chiefs, not enough Indians. Dang right, man. You need warriors. Warriors are appreciated. Zipkin staffs. You need warriors. That's what Duck's trying to do. Duck's trying to like get this PvP guild going on PS4. It's EP. If you guys, you know, are an EP player who likes PvP and Cyrodiil, look at my boy Duck here. You know, he's trying to formulate some small organized play. That's what he's looking for.
Well, actually, I was looking for large organized play. But...
Well, I'm wrong, and that's the funny thing. I can't admit when I'm wrong, though, can I, Duck? Would you say I'm a prideful person?
Yeah.
Like, do you think, like, I feel like I'm always right and never wrong? And I can't admit when I'm wrong?
No.
Yeah. I'm an asshole.
You might be hard to convince sometimes.
Well, but I'm always one who's open for it, though, aren't I? I feel like I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm like, okay, well, let's go take a look at this. So that's the one thing. We always get together when we're talking builds. Like if you guys are on the PS4, like me and my dudes, we always get together for build conversations. That's what we do here. We don't like playing to the meta. I mean, we do have our trial sets. Like we do have trial sets. We have our shit, and it's like okay, you know. And when we go through things, it's kind of like I feel like, if, for example, Duck. Would you build your Stamplar the same way you would build your Stamblade?
No.
No? Why?
No, because my Stamplar doesn't cloak.
No, I mean, I'm not talking PvP, I'm talking PvE.
No.
No. Your passives are different, right? You get different passives. You know, and that's what I'm always telling people.
Different class abilities.
Right.
I mean, they'll be similar, but...
Yeah, and there are certain things that are, you know, whatever, right. Right. No, I just got here. Laura, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, they steamrolled the 4 of us at the inner door. I know. So there was like 2 of them initially. A Nightblade and I forget what the other one was. We killed the one and Nightblade ran off. It was a bomber. He couldn't get us. So all of a sudden, we're at the door, and then there was like 7 or so many of them just come flying in, and we're right at the door. I mean, we have nothing to hide behind. You know what I'm saying? Nothing to loss out. And I think they took out one person, and all of a sudden we're trying to regroup. But yeah, but no, it was good. We had fun. Was definitely a blast. You know, I always have a blast when, you know, my granddaughter's up finally. So, did you get your sisters in the guild?
I did.
You did? Cool.
Yeah. And, like what, I was trying to do a level gear grind for the lower people, and they both made excuses not to show up.
Well, you know, that's the funny thing, but in a game like this, you know, it is very easy to get sidetracked. Heck, dude, you know, most of the time I feel like that's half the battle is trying to keep up with people in Cyrodiil, because if you pull away, you could easily be dead. Yep. And then you got one of your people trying to play catch up the entire rest of the night. So that sucks. It's the worst feeling in the world when you can't get your forces together. No, but what I mean, you're pretty stoked up. So did you go to the website, dude? They actually have some of the pre-information about Somerset out there in the jewelry crafting.
No, I didn't check. I don't have time for that.
I ain't got time for that. So there's going to be, you know, even if a player does not have Somerset, they'll still be able to collect jewelry crafting materials, and they'll still be able to sell those materials. So I find that really cool.
It doesn't come as a surprise. That's standard.
Yeah, but they just can't access the crafting station if they don't have Somerset. And I think a lot of people don't like the idea that it's behind a paywall, but I feel like you have to support the company for them to create this content, because let's keep in mind, it costs them money to create the content, so they need to recoup their loss to gain profit. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you have a problem paying for the game? For access to a content?
I wouldn't do it.
Well, let's imagine, like, to me, I'd rather do this than a free game and then be behind paywalls for everything. Like, bank space, $5. You know, chest keys to loot, $10.
One of the most expensive games most money I've ever spent on a game, or close to, is World of Tanks, which is a totally free-to-play game.
Right. But it's not obviously free to play if you're spending that much money.
Well, the reason I pay for it is because I support their idea. I support the fact that they do have it free, and I'm about that. So I'm all about paying for that. And if you look at like GTA 5, it costs the same today as when it came out. The reason it costs so much is because after you buy it, everything is free.
Right. And I feel like that, in that essence, that's kind of what we get from this game. Like, to me, ESO Plus is a very resourceful tool. Like I'd rather do that than do like don't have access to the DLCs and pay the DLCs individually, you know. But then I get a little nice little allowance, you know, every 3 months when I pay, or every month when I pay, and that allows me to use it in my crown store, you know.
You get double your bank space. You get crafting bag.
Columbine.
Like,
yeah,
man, you can't play this game without ESO Plus. If you ask me,
well,
it's impossible.
It's possible. We've done it before. We did it without it. You know, there was when there's a will, there's a way.
ESO Plus since day one, or at least week one, something like that.
I might have to figure out something if, like, like I said, if it comes down to that, because if it comes down to it. But I was like, I don't think the PS4 players are going to let me go. I just don't see it happening. As many players that talk shit about me, if I roll in a dungeon and I'm there, you never see a motherfucker kick me out on this platform, no matter what I'm rolling anymore. They won't do it. They're like, Mystic's here, let's get our A game on and let's get this bitch done. So
yeah, I got to get ready for work.
Yeah, I got to get going too, guys. Thank you for stopping in the stream. Thank you, Duck, for stopping in. I appreciate that, brother. All right, guys. So once again, I'm up for debates always. But if you're going to debate with me, just make a point, man. I'm easily approachable. But if you're going to come into my channel, at least get cut to the chase. And I don't have a problem admitting when I'm wrong. That's not an issue of mine. It's not. The thing about it is, though, just come at me, with the point. If you got a valid point, just cut to the chase and make it. Don't, spew out the obvious without making the point. It's just that simple. And once again, man, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank my sponsors. Thank you so much. If I start getting more sponsors again, and keep in mind, if you are a sponsor and you want me to do a custom build, I will always do them on Fridays, called Custom Build Friday. But that's available for sponsors. And sponsors, can have me customize builds for them at any time. They can always request it. Also, keep in mind, guys, I will be, as soon as we get the access to PTS, Somerset on the PTS, I will be informing you guys what's going on with that. If there's going to be an NDA, I won't be able to give out information. If there's no NDA, I will be streaming this. And we'll be going over a lot of things, especially with jewelry crafting, traits, build configurations, a lot of things that may pertain to you, and also how some of these changes will affect some of the classes and builds that I currently roll with. I'm looking forward to that. So, once again, thank you, everybody, for your support. I appreciate it. I'm Mysticraven, the ESO Daily, and once again and always, have a nice day.